the secret language of sighs, what your dog's deep sigh actually means. Have you ever sat quietly in your living room, only to hear a profound, heavy exhalation coming from the corner where your canine companion is resting? It is a sound so deeply human that it immediately catches your attention, leaving you wondering what complex thoughts are swirling inside that furry head. As dedicated dog owners, we constantly strive to decode the subtle body language of our pets, yet we often overlook the acoustic signals they send our way. A dog's sigh is one of the most enigmatic yet revealing vocalizations in the canine repertoire, acting as a direct window into their emotional state and immediate psychological comfort. While we might easily interpret a joyous bark or a fearful whimper, the humble sigh occupies a much more nuanced space in animal communication. It is not merely a random respiratory reflex, but a structured form of expression that bridges the gap between involuntary physiology and intentional emotional signaling. Understanding this hidden vocabulary allows us to transform our relationship with our pets, moving away from simple guesswork and toward a sophisticated, empathetic bond rooted in true behavioral science. To fully appreciate what your dog is trying to communicate, we must first examine the fascinating biological underpinnings of this respiratory phenomenon. From a purely physiological standpoint, a sigh is a deep, involuntary breath that serves a vital function in maintaining healthy lung mechanics for all mammals. Throughout the day, the tiny, microscopic air sacs in a dog's lungs, known as alveoli, can gradually begin to deflate or partially collapse during periods of shallow, resting respiration. When a dog takes a sudden, deep breath followed by a long, audible exhalation, they are effectively resetting their respiratory system by forcing these vital air sacs to reinflate completely. This sudden influx of oxygen and subsequent release of carbon dioxide helps optimize blood oxygenation and instantly triggers a state of physical equilibrium within the autonomic nervous system. It is a beautiful evolutionary design that ensures the respiratory apparatus remains fully functional during prolonged periods of inactivity or sleep. Therefore, before we can even begin to analyze the rich psychological layers behind this distinctive sound, we must recognize that every single sigh is anchored in a fundamental requirement for physical survival and internal balance. Moving beyond mere biology, the psychological context of a canine sigh depends heavily on a critical behavioral variable, whether your dog's eyes are open or closed. When a dog settles down on their favorite bed, closes their eyes completely, and lets out a long, soft, deflating breath, it serves as a definitive psychological marker of absolute emotional contentment. In the fascinating world of canine psychology, this specific type of closed-eye sigh signifies that the animal has officially transitioned from a state of active environmental vigilance to a state of profound, unconditional safety. They are quite literally telling you that their immediate world is secure, their needs have been met, and they can finally afford to let their guard down completely in your presence. It is the ultimate compliment a dog can pay to their human caretaker, serving as a peaceful declaration that they trust you entirely to protect the shared environment while they rest. This gentle, rhythmic exhalation is the sound of an anxious mind finding its anchor, allowing the animal to release the final remnants of daily tension and drift into a deep, restorative sleep free from any perceived threats. Conversely, when your dog lets out a heavy sigh while keeping their eyes wide open and focused directly on you, the psychological narrative changes dramatically. An open-eyed sigh is almost always an expression of profound canine resignation, mild frustration, or a reluctant acceptance of an unfulfilled desire. Imagine a scenario where your dog brings you their favorite squeaky toy, staring at you with intense anticipation, only for you to tell them that it is time for bed instead of playtime. As they slowly lower their chin onto their front paws, keeping their eyes locked onto your face, that dramatic, heavy exhalation is the exact equivalent of a human rolling their eyes in disappointed defeat. It means your dog has actively evaluated the situation, realized that their immediate goals or desires are not going to be realized, and is now actively coping with the minor emotional setback. They are processing a psychological shift from hopeful expectation to quiet acceptance, using the physical mechanism of the sigh to literally discharge the emotional energy and frustration that had built up within their nervous system. To see these principles in action, we can analyze several common real-life examples that every dog owner has undoubtedly witnessed within the comfort of their own household. Consider the classic scene of a family gathering around the dining room table for a holiday dinner, filled with the enticing aromas of roasted meats and delicious treats. Your faithful companion sits patiently beneath the table, watching every single forkful of food travel from the plate to your mouth, their body tense with the desperate hope that a stray morsel might accidentally tumble to the floor. Once the meal concludes and the plates are cleared away, the dog realizes the culinary opportunity has officially passed, causing them to collapse onto the rug with a loud, theatrical sigh that echoes through the room. Another poignant example occurs when you return home after a long, exhausting day at the office, dropping your keys and immediately sitting on the couch to embrace your pet. As you gently stroke their fur and speak to them in soothing tones, they will often press their body against yours and exhale deeply, signaling the immediate dissolution of the separation anxiety that had accumulated during your absence. Understanding these subtle differences is paramount because misinterpreting a dog's emotional signals can inadvertently lead to underlying behavioral issues or hidden domestic stress. For instance, if an owner constantly mistakes a sigh of genuine frustration for a sign of sleepy exhaustion, they might routinely ignore a dog that is actually begging for essential mental stimulation or physical exercise. Over time, a dog that finds its polite, subtle attempts at communication systematically ignored may eventually feel compelled to escalate their behavior to more disruptive actions, such as destructive chewing, continuous barking, or pacing. Furthermore, chronic stress can manifest as frequent, repetitive sighing throughout the day, which owners frequently misread as simple laziness or a naturally calm demeanor. By failing to look closer at the context surrounding these deep breaths, we miss the quiet cries for help from animals that may be suffering from environmental boredom, chronic low-level anxiety, or even subtle physical discomfort. True expert care requires us to look beyond the surface of a behavior, ensuring that we do not mistakenly validate our own assumptions while completely ignoring the true internal reality of our beloved pets. As a responsible and proactive owner, your behavioral response to your dog's sighs should always be dictated by a careful, holistic evaluation of their immediate surroundings and recent daily activities. If you determine that the sigh is a beautiful expression of closed-eye contentment, the absolute best course of action is to simply leave them entirely alone, allowing them to enjoy their well-earned sense of security without any unnecessary human interruption. However, if you notice your dog frequently emitting open-eyed sighs of resignation throughout the evening, it should serve as a clear prompt to evaluate whether their daily psychological and physical needs are truly being met. Consider implementing a structured routine of interactive puzzle toys, short training sessions, or an extra 20 minutes of sniff-focused walking to help them healthily burn off that lingering mental energy. Pay close attention to the specific patterns of their vocalizations, noting whether the sighs occur after specific household events, and use that valuable data to adjust your daily interactions to better support their emotional stability. By actively responding to these subtle acoustic cues with targeted care, you demonstrate to your pet that their voice is heard, creating a harmonious living environment built on mutual respect. Ultimately, learning to decipher the secret language of your dog's deep sighs is an incredibly rewarding journey that elevates your caretaking from basic ownership to true psychological companionship. It forces us to slow down, put aside our human distractions, and deeply observe the intricate emotional landscapes of the animals that share our homes and our hearts. Every breath they take, every shift in their gaze, and every soft sigh emitted on the living room floor is a thread in the complex fabric of canine communication that we are privileged to unravel. When we finally learn to listen to these quiet moments with an educated mind and an empathetic heart, the mysterious barrier between our two different species begins to elegantly dissolve. We begin to realize that our dogs are not just simple creatures of basic instinct, but deeply emotional beings who experience the world with a profound level of sensitivity and awareness. So, the very next time you hear that familiar, heavy exhalation echoing through your home, pause for a brief moment, look closely at their eyes, and appreciate the beautiful, silent conversation that is unfolding right in front of you.